On the modern battle space, information moves at the speed of light. And conflict, well, it's waged not only with steel, but with signals, with statements. It's a new kind of warfare, really, where words can be every bit as decisive as weapons.
You see, the first volley in an engagement today is often not a missile, but a message. It's an instrument of pressure, and it's designed to shape what an adversary does long before the first shot is ever actually fired.
And that brings us to this, a stark declaration, made public. Tonight will be our biggest bombing campaign. I mean, it's a direct and frankly unambiguous statement of intent. It signals a whole new phase in a conflict that's escalating, and escalating fast.
To really understand the gravity of this moment, we need to dissect this declaration. It's more than just a threat. It's a preview of what could be a major strategic shift in military doctrine.
So what we're talking about here isn't just a continuation of existing policy. No, this is a warning of what's being called the biggest attack to date. It's an operation designed to be decisive, with consequences, it's claimed, that could be felt for centuries.
So, an operation of this magnitude, what would that even look like? Well, the warning wasn't vague. In fact, it was very specific, and it outlined a really clear set of targets and objectives.
Okay, so let's look at the stated tactical objectives. They're precise. The primary targets are reportedly the Iranian missile launchers themselves, the instruments of immediate threat. Then you have the secondary targets, the missile production factories, the very source of that threat. The goal here isn't just punishment, it's a substantial degradation of military capability. And that right there illustrates a key point. This isn't about a proportional tit-for-tat response. The strategy being described here is one of dismantlement, to systematically take away an opponent's ability to wage war, right from the ground up.
Now these threats, they don't just happen in a vacuum. They come alongside battlefield assessments delivered directly from former U.S. President Donald Trump, which frame the current state of the conflict, and really, they create the psychological conditions for a warning like this.
So when he was asked to score the engagement on a scale of 1 to 10, the response was 12 to 15. Now that's a statement that's clearly designed to project overwhelming dominance and success.
And the scope of this assessment, it's pretty striking. According to the claims reported by the source, the Iranian Navy is, quote, gone. Communication systems, gone. Their leadership is apparently down to their third set, and entire forces have been, in his words, wiped out.
So whether you take that as a literal accounting of facts or as a strategic message, the picture being painted is of an adversary that has been completely broken. And that, of course, creates immense psychological pressure before any future operations even begin.
Which brings us to the ultimate question of escalation, right? If you have an enemy that's supposedly on the brink of collapse, what's the final step to secure a victory?
Well, according to international media reports cited by the source, the deployment of American soldiers on Iranian soil is actually being considered. Now, that would represent the most significant potential escalation, a move from air power to actual ground control.
So, let's just step back. We've looked at the threat of a massive bombing campaign, an assessment of total dominance, and even the possibility of a ground invasion. But now, we have to consider these statements not just as plans, but as actions in and of themselves.
This forces us to ask a critical question. Are the targets just the missile factories and military hardware on the ground, or is the primary target the will of the adversary, the calculations of its leadership, and maybe even the perception of the entire global audience?
This is by definition information warfare. It's the strategic use of information, and sometimes disinformation, to achieve national objectives. It's a battle for perception, and it's fought with press releases, with intelligence leaks, and with public declarations.
And so, in an era where a public statement can be a strategic weapon, the most difficult task is telling the difference between the warning and the reality, the signal from the noise. Because on this new battlefield, that blurred line, that is the front itself.